Hi, I'm Adriana Craciun. I work in environmental humanities and Arctic humanities and science and culture. I'm going to tell you very briefly about one of the books I'm completing at the moment called Arctic Enlightenment, The Time of Plants in the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. This book is forthcoming from University of Minnesota Press in their environmental humanities series. Very briefly, so the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, which you see up on the right there, is located, if you go to the top of Greenland, turn right, you're at the Svalbard archipelago. I visited there in 2014 inside. I became very interested in the site. A couple that you may have read about it in the news. It's quite a newsworthy, aesthetically compelling place. But what interests me about it is how it presents, how it's been designed, and it's presented to us by the scientists and the designers of the site. It's designed to safeguard the world's backup vault for the world's seed banks, agricultural cultivated plants, to protect them from climate change and preserve them perpetually, perhaps for centuries, if not millennia. So it is an intensely future-oriented institution. Like much outsider interest in the Arctic, it has certain assumptions that it's based on. And this I find very interesting. It assumes that the place in Svalbard and the Arctic is a kind of timeless, frozen in time place. It assumes also that an archive or a collection is also a timeless place in which you remove objects from history or from circulation and outside of time somehow preserve them statically. And it's also based on a longstanding, actually ancient assumption that plants are somehow also timeless. They don't, especially seeds, that you can take a seed and it's essentially suspended animation, and that the plant doesn't have the same temporality that humans do. It has a very different temporality. So my research looks to animate all these three supposedly frozen, timeless aspects: the time of the archive, the time of the Arctic, that is Svalbard, and the time of plants, and to set them all in motion, to make this a place itself that is moving and dynamic and inhabited by a plural temporality, many temporalities, not a static, timeless place. It is not like an ark designed to escape history and get us to the other side of the Anthropocene, although it is presented that way. The founder, Kerry Fowler, has described it as designed to last forever, and he has said it was designed and constructed to last forever. There is no end date to its use. It is a unique structure. Seldom in history have people built anything to last forever. This is why we need to engage humanists, because then you shouldn't say things like that without actually thinking more clearly. So it is not, of course, it will not last forever. But the question, in addition to thinking about the vulnerability and the plural temporal aspects of these seeds that are in this seed vault, I ask, when does the seed vault even begin? It's founded in 2008, it's opened in 2008, but is it a project of 20th century bioscience and cryoscience designed to safeguard and deal with our climate emergency into the future? That's how it's almost always studied and presented. My suggestion is that it's actually an enlightenment project. It's not a project of the 20th century. You have to begin the story of the seed vault in the 17th and 18th centuries, when global plant collections first began. And if you do that, for example, one of the things I'm finding that's fascinating is that there is a long-standing, ancient, certainly, association of seeds with the sacred and with immortality. But even in the science, the early intense interest in plant longevity in the 17th and 18th centuries, when they started making global collections of plants for the first time, that scientific investigation and commitment was always in part associated with a religious, theological commitment to immortality. Like the seeds, the scientists were doing the science. This case was this is a bulb, not a seed from a mummy, but they're finding and looking for evidence of immortality, human immortality, and redemption and looking at plants and collections of plants to do this work for us. So that history of the seed collecting and the plant longevity needs to be acknowledged as part of the seed vault, because it actually affects how people, the public, perceives the seed vault. We talk about it as a doomsday vault in the public. It's apocalyptic, the language, and we place a great deal of religious theological importance on the survival of these seeds as a sacred kind of vessel. And it's a mistake not to look at the longer history of that. And one mistake that you can get into if you do that is you start creating, there's like now an Arctic World Archive where it's described also in Svalbard, where you can store all your valuable data forever. It's a safe repository on the safest natural location on Earth, Svalbard. And there's actually a price for 9,000 euros. They'll do it for eternity, which is such a bargain. But the point is that, of course, Svalbard is the fastest warming place on Earth. It's faster than any other place in the Arctic. It's a nightmarish scenario. It is not safe. It is not natural. And it's certainly not going to last for eternity. And that's the end of my presentation.